Welcome into the Local 5 Weather Lab. I'm meteorologist Dave Downey. Today we're going to take a trip outside of the state of Iowa. Today we're going to the Pacific Ocean. We're going to talk about the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Now basically what the El Nino is, it's when trade winds blow east to west as opposed to west to east like they blow here in the mid-latitudes, and they push warm surface waters away from Central America and the United States toward Asia. Now in certain years those trade winds can weaken, which actually pushes the warm water back towards South America. Now, how does that, basically, what does that do for us here in Iowa during the winter? Well, typically it pushes the polar jet stream further towards the north, which kind of cuts off that cooler air from reaching us here in the upper Midwest. It keeps the Ohio Valley dry, portions across the southern states wet, but most importantly, it keeps the upper Midwest and the northern plain states much warmer than average. As this happened recently 2 years ago. Last year was a neutral year. 2 years ago was an El Nino year. And this year, however, we have the opposite of an El Nino. That's called a La Nina. Now, certain years, the trade winds are stronger than usual, which pushes the warm water all the way over there close to the Indian Ocean, as a matter of fact. So that causes cooler weather to what's called upwell from the bottom, not the bottom of the ocean, but from below the ocean surface in the eastern Pacific. So what that does for us, you can probably guess, it's the opposite of what happens during a El Nino. It pulls the polar jet further to the south, so it causes cooler air to spill down more into the upper Midwest and the northern plains, actually, and then it causes the Ohio Valley to turn wet and southern states to become dry and warm. Now, initially, a few months ago, it was looking like it was going to be a neutral winter. In between La Nina and El Nino, we really see a whole lot of impacts. However, that has changed, and the ocean temperatures out in the eastern Pacific are cooler than average. So we are approaching a La Nina year. So what happens when that La Nina happens? How does the ENSO affect us here in Iowa? We just saw the polar jet will kind of dip southward. That can cause Canadian air to spill down into the northern states like Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, places like that. And the Pacific jet could also help bring some moisture into the upper Midwest too, which can kind of enhance snowfall rates and do kind of things like that, and can really create a mess in the winter. So extreme cold is more likely. We saw that happen last year when places in Texas got down well below freezing and caused massive problems in places like Austin, San Antonio, Central Texas, places that really never get that type of extreme cold. So we are in a La Nina this year. Obviously, it hasn't been that cool thus far this year, but I'm sure time will tell that it's coming later on this winter. That's all for the ENSO. Thanks for coming to Local 5 Weather Lab. I'm meteorologist Dave Downey.